First is Jeffrey Caputo. Come forward, introduce yourself. You'll have 3 minutes to address the board. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Jeffrey Caputo, St. Petersburg, Florida. Wanted to talk about term limits. It is a nice breath of fresh air not to have to talk about vaccines, masks, and hospital capacity. But at the expense of being sophomoric, I looked up the term democracy. And direct democracy, a form of government in which the people have the authority to deliberate and decide legislation. It contrasts with forms of government where power is held by a small number of individuals, as in an oligarchy. Democracy is in contrast with dictatorship or tyranny, in which the people can control their leaders and oust them without the need for a revolution. So the members on this board, inclined towards Democratic Party ideals, have a unique opportunity to show the constituency how democratic they really are, embracing every aspect of democracy, including this direct democracy premise, via a referendum to the people for term limits. With extreme left-wing, right-wing polarization these days, this referendum would be enlightening to see if all voters in this county can actually agree on a common issue. And it would be amazing to see such a referendum potentially break through this great political divide. Barring the legal technicality of the ruling against term limits, the 1996 ballot initiative showed popular support across party lines for term limits, notwithstanding the finer points of law in which the Florida courts overturned it. 2013, Judge Schaefer, as you know, Judge Schaefer, he held that the ruling by the second DCA in 2003 was binding and that the 1996 referendum was unconstitutional, but any future referendums post-2013 were to be governed by the fourth DCA case of Telley versus Broward, which stated, "For these reasons, we decline to extend the holding in Cook to apply to members of a county's governing body under the Florida Constitution and hold that the voters may amend a county's charter if they choose to impose term limits on county commissioners. The Florida Supreme Court upheld that precedent. We recede from Cook and the rationale it relied upon. Therefore, we hold that the term limits provided in Broward County's charter do not violate the Florida Constitution." So having indefinite terms creates large barriers to entry for aspiring candidates. In my opinion, an unfair election process is created in that a campaign can cost upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars just to run against a 20-year incumbent who has ran unopposed for consecutive terms, or maybe a couple times has done a serious campaign. And that's due to the combination of cost prohibition and name recognition over the course of decades. So it's very well known that a great majority of the voting base are not as informed as they could be. And they'll pick incumbents just because the name has been around a while it's likely that many votes were not really cast for any substantive issues related to the incumbent's term. Some on this board have stated that people don't want term limits, so let's put the will of the people to the test with a referendum.